Welcome to the Dr. Dare Show. My name is Dr. Frederick Dare, and welcome to the Dr. Dare Show live on Facebook and YouTube. It has been a while. I had to remember what I was supposed to say to just open open this show, but I am here with my guest, Audrena Hamlin. Welcome to the show. When you come in, click like, share this video, and let us know how your week has been so far. I see four people coming on so far, but welcome, welcome, welcome. Don't forget to share. Audrena, how's your week been so far?
It's been pretty good, long, but pretty good so far. What about you?
Good. My long, same, especially today. Today felt really, I guess because it's a holiday weekend and we were going into the holiday. So I guess I was ready to get off. Um, but
Right.
yeah, how are y'all doing out there? How's it going out there? Where are you, Audrina? In Virginia still? Are you in Virginia?
High Point, North Carolina.
Oh, you're in North Carolina. Hey, Angela.
Yeah.
Angela, you got home fast. So, Audrina, you'll see like any questions will come. You see where Angela's name is down there? You will see questions pop up if anybody
Okay.
has questions once we start talking. Yeah. So,
Yes.
welcome, welcome, welcome. Seems like we're getting back to kind of some kind of normalcy with COVID, but then here comes monkeypox. So,
Right.
I'm like, do you ever want ask yourself, do you feel like it's the end of the world, or the end of the world is coming?
Well, you know what? Monkeypox or whatever was a hoax at first. And then I was like, I started reading more. And this is really true, So,
Y-
yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Okay. Hey, Karen. Hey, Tanil. We're glad to be back as well. Um, it took me a while to get back on. I don't know what I was. I think I needed to break out to that book signing and just working so hard. Yeah. But hey, Tanil. Hey, Karen. Let us know how your week has been. And we have the author Audrena Hamlin. Have her book right here, right there, titled "The Relationship with Him," and she's going to discuss that. I'm going to go find the. Do you use Amazon? Did you give me an Amazon link? I can
Yes.
pull it up.
Okay, okay, okay.
I'll pull it up. Yep.
Okay.
So welcome, 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 y'all. Just let us know how your week has been. Where are you coming?
Ooh, he's out. Uh-oh. Okay. I have no idea. I'm trying to contact him. Some has happened on his end. Um, hmm. Can you guys still hear me? I don't know what happened.
There we are. I think I hit a I think I hit a button or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay, okay. I was like,
But
what happened?
which is strange. So everybody's come back. So everybody's still there. I still see the numbers there. But welcome, welcome, welcome to the Dr. Dare Show. If you just joined, we are live on Facebook and YouTube. It seems like there's some freezing going on. I don't know what's happening, but hopefully it will catch up with itself. But anyway, yep. So we have author Audrena Hamlin here of the book, The Relationship with Him. We're going to give her an opportunity. We usually start at 8:40, so allowing people to come in, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her book and about herself, and then we'll ask a few questions, and that's how the show is going to go. So check in. I'm glad y'all back. Sorry, I hit a button. I was trying to find something, and I think I closed out the tab, which is funny. But anyway, Tennille, I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad. Yeah, I let it go for too long, but I needed that month break. Self care is important.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so people are coming on. The numbers are getting bigger, so that's good. They're coming back. Yep, I'm back, Angela. How's the weather in North Carolina? Hey, Tanisha.
It's okay. It seems to be raining every day. Seem like so it's a bummer.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. How long you been in North Carolina?
I actually been here 3 years,
3 years. Okay.
mhm. Yeah, been pretty nice.
You like it? Pretty much.
Yeah, I like it. I actually work in travel. It's like an hour and 15-minute commute. Yeah,
Okay.
so but it's
Cool.
okay. Hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, Tanisha. Thank you. I am glad to be back. Glad y'all are back with me and didn't get lost in the shuffle out there and social media land. Um, yeah, so we're going to be doing different formats. I have another author lined up on the 16th, I believe. So I'm doing it every other week so that we're not every Friday night, we're not here. Because I do teach a Zumba class before I come to sign on. And then I've been at work all day and I've seen therapy clients. And so just busy day.
Yeah.
So, yep. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I can't wait to hear. I was reading snippets of the book. Very interesting. Very, very good read, actually. I was like,
Yeah,
okay.
thank you.
Yeah. So this is your second book?
Actually, it's my second one. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
the first one is titled and the acronym for it is bringing every community over mountains effectively. The goal is to try to educate, one
Okay.
individual at a time. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Okay, y'all. So yeah, check in. How are y'all doing out there? Tanisha, Angela, Karen, Tanil. How's the work week been? And I'm going to go and try to find. Hold on. This time I didn't hit the link because I see it still up there.
Are you in?
Yes.
Okay. Were you in Hampton?
Oh no, I'm in Atlanta.
You're in Atlanta. Oh,
Yeah, I've been in Georgia since 2001.
so I'm assuming you like it.
Yeah, yeah, I done went here and got several degrees and yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do like it. It's a lot of opportunity here. So I'm looking up your book on
Amazon.
Amazon so I can copy the link. And I found it. So now let me share it. Okay, y'all, we will start in 1 minute. Um, let's just go up there and copy it.
Yes, it is a 3-day weekend. So glad about that.
I know. I'm so glad. Is that your cousin on there, or is it my cousin? Do you see that? Oh, hold on.
It must be your cousin.
So, what's up, Cuzzo? That's
Yeah.
what they said. Okay.
Look.
Work week is over. Thank God. 3-day weekend approaching. Yes. Okay. And so that's the link to the book. I'm trying to find a shareable one, more shareable than that. But yes, so let's get started. Welcome, 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 everybody. People will keep coming in, but we are going to be talking with the author. Make sure you go pick up the book. I just put the link there. There's a link in the description, also on my page and on the Dr. Dare page. Um, yes, The Relationship with Him by Audrena Hamlin. Make sure you go get your copy. Me and her actually went to school, Hampton High, right? We're not telling a year on.
Right.
But we went to schools
Right.
together. It's been a while. I haven't talked to her in forever. And we in Hampton, I feel like we're all family. We went to high school together, middle school, most of us, and then elementary school. So it's just that kind of community. All right. Yeah, you're Brockington, so you are. Because Tanisha, don't be putting those eyes up there trying to see what year we graduated. Anyway, we'll let Audrina introduce herself. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you were born, kids, married, not,
Okay.
whatever you want to share. All
I'm
right.
Hamlin, born and raised in Virginia. Grown children, 10 grandkids.
Oh, big
I
family.
am. I'm an only child. On my mom's side, and on my dad's side, I'm the oldest. Um, I have a bachelor's in behavioral science, so I'm working on a master's. I am.
Good.
Um, I've traveled the world. Ex-husband for almost 20 years, so we traveled, and I've been to Germany, which that was my favorite. Being in Alaska. My son is also military in his father's footstep. My daughter, I'm a retired hairstylist, advocate for domestic violence and sexual assault. I am all these accolades or whatever. I'm a licensed minister, so I do preach and teach the gospel.
Oh, good.
That's about it. Yeah. So.
Okay. Okay. So, how did you get started in writing books? What was your inspiration in writing books?
Okay. So it was 2004. I had somebody, I had someone come to me and prophesy saying that you got these books that you're gonna write, and of course, was like, no, not me. I don't even know what you're talking about, because I was always so very bashful. I didn't like to talk to people, and I never really journaled out my thoughts on a particular
Mm-hmm.
guy. And he was writing poems, and I started crying. I was like, oh my God, those are words and so I went home and I actually started writing. Going on, I started writing like different types of poems and stuff, and then I began to write about, journal down, different
Mm-hmm.
thoughts and stuff from the things that I had experienced in life, and carried on. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do these books. And so it wasn't until I actually, published the book. So, but it just I needed to, because I was always
Mm-hmm.
ashamed of it. And so I was story because I want to help people. I want to make people better. And so I just started to journal down and write different things, and just found somebody to help me put it together. So
Good. So how was it? Because I know you have a lot of personal stuff in the book. Because I was reading a little bit of that today, the relationship with him.
yeah,
How was it when you put? Because I know I put a book out with my personal stuff in it as
mm-hmm.
well. How did that feel to just say I'm putting this out in the world?
So when I thought about actually putting it out in that way, so blunt, it was like, having a relationship with God, over to actually do it and to write about, and just to say, hey, this is what it is. He wants not just speak to people that are older, but speak to those that are 5 and 6, that they can understand, and try to actually prevent them from carrying it on, so telling people, you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
it was like just to try to bring awareness to people, and that's why the book is it's a very easy read. I didn't want to use too many big words. I wanted everybody to be able to understand exactly, the things that a lot of times in Black families, we don't like to talk about that we're molested by, we carry those things with us forever,
Mm-hmm.
and so very simple. So I just started, like I said, I just started writing, and then I started with some of the things that had happened to me, because it's like I wanted the women, people,
Mm-hmm.
to know that it's okay to tell others what it made you feel like, you know.
Right.
And so, a lot of times being, there's certain things that, bother you, like smells, you know what I mean, or sound.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My biggest thing was alcohol. You know, they were always smoking and different things like that. And so that was like a huge issue for me. My first marriage, I never exposed it to him. He never knew what
Mm-hmm.
happened. And like that was some of the issues that, I had developed in the marriage because I tell him, and I
Mm-hmm.
actually didn't tell anybody until I was 40 years old.
Wow.
And
So
I'm
so
50 almost. So yeah.
how did you handle that all those years? You just kept it inside, or?
I, I kept it actually inside and going
Mm-hmm.
to so I'm a certified domestic violence and sexual, and so my spiritual mom had asked me to participate in it, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I knew what had happened to me in my heart already, you know what I mean? And so
Mm-hmm.
as I started going through everything, you know, it was just like yes, this, you know what I mean? And so it just helped to inspire me to share the story even down, and so that's what I did. So
Okay. So share a little bit about some of the things that you want to share that you went through so that the audience can kind of know how what the book is about a little.
okay,
And
the book is basically, it talks like starting off. I won before I was actually born, and so it talks about my parents meeting 15 and 16. My mom was 16 and they had me. So it talks about them acting in a relationship, and here come me, you know. And
mhm.
midst of all of that, one of my aunts I found out that she was the parents, and it was, I was just like, oh my God, really? I actually, when I started to actually write the book. And so in the beginning of the book, it just goes the relationship I had with my grandfather. He was such a significant person in my life, person I ever heard say, I love you. And so he actually passed away in the
Of
book.
cancer,
And
right? Yeah,
yeah,
cancer. I
and I
read
was just
that.
angry with this quote unquote person called God. And so when a lot of people relationship with him, the title of the book, they actually think that it's about a man, but it's
Mhm.
actually my relationship at early age with God. Of course, I didn't know at the time, but it just kind of carry on and talks about how I would see through some of my pain and different things like that, and how I met my dad for the first time. And after that, I didn't see him anymore till I was 21. And so, in actuality, father 6 times in my entire life. And
Wow. Is
so,
your dad still living, or is?
yes, in Las Vegas. So,
Okay. Okay.
and about the forgiveness and how I forgave. And it also talks about how the relationship with me and my mother, it was hard. My grandparents raised me, and
Mhm.
so our relationship, because my mom, um, she's actually a recovering alcoholic, and father, what I knew of him, he was an alcoholic and a chain smokers, and it was just so much abuse and doing in the house at my grandparents' house at all the time. And I remember one particular time that I had asked my mom, like, something had happened to her, but I
Uh-huh.
didn't know in detail. And it was probably about 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening or something like that. I'm just thinking about, and I saw her staggering down the street. And as she was staggering down, okay, she's drunk. And I
Uh-huh.
was like, what is really going on? And so as she got, blood and everything was on her. So what I later found out, it was like I could identify, because that was the same cry that I had done, after being molested and raped and
Mhm.
being held down, by people. And and so when I finally went towards her, and I started crying too. I get emotional. I'm sorry, but it's so
Oh, don't
surreal
apologize.
still. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I like to talk about it. The more you talk about it, I feel the better it is
Right.
for me, but for others.
So
So
in your grandparents' house, there was all of this trauma and sexual abuse and stuff taking place. Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
and as well, I don't want to just say inside their house, but outside the house
Outside
as
as well.
well. Yeah,
Okay.
because
Okay.
I used to go to my mom's house on the weekends. They were mom's house on the weekend, and even doing that, there were people in that advantage of me as well.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of times people ask me, they want to know names, and I feel like as long as I forgave them, names
Right.
doesn't matter. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Right.
I just feel that I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble. That's not my heart, to bring awareness to everybody that, this
Mhm.
can happen, so when you see these different, signs and things of them like being drawn away from other people, because they used to always say that I was always so angry,
Mhm.
that I was mean, but I was myself. Um,
It was that a protection thing for you, you think? Just being
yes,
that.
it
Yeah.
actually was. And I used to, even at an early age, was drinking,
Mhm.
alcoholics and drug addicts and different things like that. And I started to drink, but my so that I can, you know, wet in the bed. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? To wouldn't come near me,
Gotcha.
and I remember days where I washed well or whatever and went to school and people were teasing me about that. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? But they never, no one never knew. The teachers, no one never knew what actually I was going through time.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That
it was horrible. Yeah.
so even as a child, you had to create these coping mechanisms to kind of
Yeah.
protect yourself from people trying to molest you or rape you. How do you feel like it has impacted your relationships, like as you got older? Because I know, maybe you didn't recognize that all of that stuff impacted you, but now looking back, how did it impact your relationships?
I think even, some of my friends in Hampton High play basketball or whatever, but it's like I don't tell a lot of them now. And I feel that it was because of the things that I was always so withdrawn from everybody. And I never really could be around other people at that time. It was just like, oh, hi. You know what I mean? It was always
Mhm.
this animosity that I had within me. But as I look back at a lot of the relationships, I feel like I lost a lot of and significant people at that
Mhm.
time. When I look back at it or whatever, even with my my children's father, we were married for a while, and it's like I knew, and
Mhm.
I look back and I feel like if I had expressed to him what was then maybe because I met him at 15, and so
Okay.
it could have got some help then, So
Mhm. See, you never know
So
what, even because we went to high school together, I never would have known any of this stuff. Same with me. If you read my book, you never think that I was going through that stuff all the time, because I don't know why we put on this face. I don't know if that's to protect us or
yeah,
just to keep. Is it a black family thing where we hide our pain just to keep people out of our business? I don't know what that is, but it was like a coping mechanism, and I see we kind of did the same thing, you know.
right. And see, I haven't read your book yet, so I need. But I think that's what it is. It's a black household one, and I think it's
Mhm.
like even now, I have family members that come to tell me after they've heard my story and seen the book that they were experiencing.
Wow.
Yes, and I was so shocked. Wow, I wish that we could have talked about it
Came
then, but of course,
together. Yeah.
so now they come to me
Mhm.
and they talk to me about it, and then but they never asked me who it was, but they just tell me who did what to So
To
it's
them.
yeah, so it's pretty.
So what would you tell someone who's right now going through this same stuff that you went through? Because we have to think it's happening right now in somebody's family.
Yes, I would say go to a um, teacher or somebody outside the home would be
Mhm.
a lot better, a lot better,
Mhm.
than actually telling somebody in the home first, because I feel like they may think that you're lying, you know,
Mhm.
and they don't want to, that going to tell your mom, and then next thing your mom say you're lying, especially even or whomever.
Right.
I always think that it's better to go outside and tell other people what's going on with you, and then just kind of take it from there. At you up with different counselors and different things like that.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, because that's sad that somebody out there right now is going through that alone, and they're just holding it in and hoping that it'll be over soon. And you don't have to do that alone. It's like you said, go tell someone who's outside the family so that they can get you
yeah.
help. How do you think everybody kept that secret in your family? How was, or do
Um,
you,
I don't know.
or did they just
I
keep everybody apart? I,
we would always think, and I, I can't go too much into,
yeah, don't.
you know what I mean,
Uh huh.
because of
Uh huh.
people coming to me,
Right. Right.
and
Right.
me giving that.
So just know that it was there was the secret there, which is what happens in most families. And if you don't say something to somebody outside of the family, you'll keep this generational curse just going
Exactly.
on and on and on and on. And so that's the what I want people to take away. If you're struggling with this, if you're re-listening to this video after the show is over, please talk to somebody, because if you just keep quiet, all you're doing is passing on a generational curse of trauma. And that's a hard place to be, is when you're silent and you're hurting by yourself and
Exactly.
nobody, you know. Did you even think to seek help during those years, or was it just this is
Now,
normal for this is how family is right now?
right. To even when I got, became older and
Mhm.
30s, I never thought about it really to anybody,
Mhm.
or to seek any type of help. Um, at my spiritual mom, I was able I'll never forget the day that I told her. Um,
Mhm.
we were in a session. I got an attitude with her, and I was just like so frustrated because what happened was, that movie, gosh, I can't think of the name of it, but the girl, um, she was getting raped. What is that movie? Precious.
Oh, with Precious on. Okay,
right?
I can't think of the name of it,
So
but I know with Monique
that
on there, right?
movie,
And
what
mhm,
happened is my children had done graduated and left the house, and so they had always told me not, because I started sharing little things with them,
mhm,
trying to figure out if anybody bothered. And so I watched this movie, and as I watched the movie, I mean, that I guess I needed to go there
mhm,
because it was just looking like, oh my God, this happened to me. This
mhm.
happened, memories and things that I tried to push back in my head and my subconscious and all of that come up. It started to come up. It started to come up. And I started to drink. Now, I'm not again pop pills and do things to try to sleep. I couldn't sleep.
Mhm.
I kept dreaming about it. And so probably a few weeks later with my spiritual mom, and I just kind of like went off on it. Thing was wrong because she know I'm not that type of person.
Right, right.
And it's like just started telling her in detail what happened,
Mhm.
and she just prayed over me and just was like, you got to talk about it. And I mean, when I got better, and I cried so hard. I mean, like my shut, because I was finally getting that junk out of me. It was holding me
Right.
down. I needed to be able to help other people. And so I finally got it out of me. It just sometimes when I think about it, I said I carried it for so long. Like
Right.
got rid of it at earlier, you know, where I would be now in life, relationships,
Right.
because I've lost so many relationships, even with me. I understand why, but now as I look at it, I understand that it was because of what so
And I'm so glad you shared that because I think a lot of people need to hear that what happens when you hold things in. It's
yeah,
not going to go away because you're avoiding it. It's going to eventually come out and you need to get it out because then what I always tell my clients is that as soon as you become aware of what your issues is, you can start to heal yourself, fix things, work on things. But if you just
right,
keep ignoring and thinking that it's just going to kind of disappear and you're going to be okay, you're not going to be okay.
right.
Okay, so we have somebody commenting. Karen says you are so brave, Audrena. Thank you for telling your story.
This will help. Thank you. You're more than welcome. But
Oh, I'm hitting the wrong thing. So any questions out there? Make sure you go to Amazon. All you have to do, there's a link. I put it up there, but all you have to do is put the title of the book in there and Audrena's name, and it will pop up to the link. But again, it's in this video. It's on the page. But any questions out there? Yeah. So how has the book helped you? Because I know when I was writing my book, it was very therapeutic, like getting that stuff out.
yes, it really was. And sometimes when you're writing, things will start coming to you that you had forgot.
Got. Yep.
And you like, oh my God, really? This is because in the book I talk about I never had an opportunity to meet my dad's parents. They did before I was even born. So that
Mhm.
rejection again, you understand that
Right.
rejection before I was ever born, I just began to cry as I part of it. I was saying, I'll never know how they smell. I'll never, they'll never see who I am. What was it about me that they didn't want to meet? Why they didn't never want to see me? Why did they reject me? You
Wow.
but doing that part, I mean, I cried so hard, and it was just like it was like, why me? Why me?
Mhm.
Why did I have to experience it? It was just it felt so good to be able to get that out. Like it wasn't me. It's nothing that
Mhm.
I that's on them that they never this great woman, So
Right. Right.
it was like I said, but it was so therapeutic, particular part in the book, so.
Good, good. And do you realize that's your purpose for going through all that stuff is to share all the stories to help other women if they're in this situation right now?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I realized I began to have I have an organization called Metamorphosis Vision LLC, and it's where I educate and inspire women, help them
Nice.
and different things like that. I do like different events and having different speakers talk about my story. Everywhere I go, I talk about it. Anytime
Good.
I travel, God always give me people that I need to talk to, and share the
Mhm.
story. It's been such a blessing. Um, I went to Hawaii and I took my
Oh,
books with
wow.
me. Yeah, I
Mhm.
took the books with me, and out of the blue, several people and women that needed to hear the story. Never told anybody, but they were able to share with me what they had experienced, molested and raped. So
Right.
it's like, okay, God, I thank you for being able to help somebody else. I'm
Yeah.
grateful. I'm grateful for the experience. Yeah.
And thank you for doing that, because
Yeah.
some, you know, it's like those women felt like they could talk to you because you understood what they were going through. But it's so many
Yeah.
people holding on to just past trauma and just trying to deal with it. And I think the Black community, we don't believe in mental health treatment. We just believe in just carrying all this trauma all the time with us and not doing anything with it. And then we wonder why some of us are so, I won't generalize, but some of us are so angry or we're having a lot of broken relationships. We can't stay in relationships. We don't get along with people. There's a
Right.
lot of stuff that's in your background that until you process that, you're going to struggle with just socializing and not just Black community but all
All
communities.
committed.
But
Yeah.
I'm wanting our community to start focusing on mental health and getting help. Treat it like it's a doctor. Like you go to the doctor when you're sick. So you should go to the doctor. You should go to a therapist when you're
Right.
struggling with your mental
Exactly.
health. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Because even though being a mental health counselor as well, you know, I have a therapist,
right.
that I talk, and it, it's nothing wrong with that. And
Exactly.
for most Black, we think that how you a therapist and you help people. Yeah, no, I need to get this off of me. So
Right.
it's okay. I don't care
Right.
what you say about me, because at the end of my head and my heart, from trauma stuff,
Exactly.
So I didn't. You know what?
And when you go ahead.
Too. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
I never realized that so many Black men, because I'm saying Black men because that's what I dated, were actually that had experienced molested
Mhm.
until, you know what I mean? Until I, eventually started, and then they would tell me, and I'm like, wow,
It's
you,
shocking to you,
you know,
right? Even
yeah,
to
yes, it really
because
is, because
we don't talk about people. I don't know why I think we're taught pray about it and just don't talk about it. I believe in prayer,
right,
but I think you got to get it because I always say this, and I may be quoting this scripture wrong, but faith without works is
it,
dead. If you
it
don't do
is.
anything to help yourself, then just saying I'm going to pray about it is to
It's
me
not.
is not enough. Yeah.
It's not enough, and you're right. It's enough. You have to be able to, talk about it. But just to hear that so many people experience it, it's just like, wow. And I think about that too in a lot of their relationships, you know they because I've heard how women that abuse the men, you know and so
Right.
then they become very abusive and different things like that to women, you know what I
And they
mean?
can't even
And so
explain their
it's
own behavior.
exactly
I don't know why
until
I'm doing this. Yep, Angela, you're right. Yes, faith without
That
works,
is
most
most.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's why a lot of people they don't understand why their relationships or they get involved. Because I'm reading this book, it's about sexual trauma, and one thing that the book talks about is that when people have had sexual trauma in the past, they either go from one extreme to the other. They'll have sex all the time, all not understanding what their behavior is, just having sex with
Right.
anybody, or
Right.
they'll go to the opposite end and don't want to have sex and don't want to be touched, and but they don't understand that. We look at them and we're judging them like, oh, they have to be a hoe or whatever,
Right.
but
Right.
it's there's something to those behaviors that people are not just
Yeah.
doing those things, you know, on purpose. Some
Right. And I can
story
say from
behind
my,
that.
yeah, I became promiscuous at a young age. I
Mhm.
did,
Mhm.
you know, but that was my way of
Coping with
just like with what I was going through, you
yeah.
know. So,
And that's what we want people to get is like there's anytime you go through a trauma, there's going to be some kind of effect from it or some kind
mhm.
of issue from it that if you don't process it, you'll be behaving. Some people wonder why I can't stay in a relationship or why, you know, people don't like me or why. It's a lot of it is your past trauma and you don't know that you're bringing that into your adulthood, especially if it happened in childhood. And so to process that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So any questions out there? Any questions? Make sure you go get your copy of The Relationship with Him. Again, do I still have that link? I think I do. There's the link right there. Make sure you get a copy of it. It's a good. I've started reading it. I was reading about your grandfather, and he was
Yeah.
like when he told you he loved you. It was like you hadn't ever heard that before.
I hadn't
Yeah.
never heard the word "I love you" before. When I
Wow.
finally started hearing the word "I love you," it was more so of a touch. It was
Right.
right. You have sex with me, and then you say, you love me, just me. And so, never really understood what the power of love was till I met God, and
Mhm.
and when I met Him, and He what love really was. That's when I write in there says, "Wow, what a love!" That's what I said in my adult life. You know,
Mhm.
wow, what a love. Because even being married, what love was. So
So you were
but
just
it was
going
still like,
along. Yeah, I'm in a relationship.
I
I'm
love
married. I'm just
you.
going
You
along.
love me too,
Mhm.
right? And that's just what it was. But when I really was is when I started my relationship with God, and it made me say, "Wow!" When
Okay.
I felt it, you know what I'm saying?
Then
And
you
that's what I said.
understood what it really was.
Yeah,
So we have a question here. Angela says, "Why wouldn't a person not want to have sex at all?" So if someone's had sexual trauma, what I've
mhm,
experienced with clients that I've had, like I said, they go to one extreme to the other. Some people just have sex everywhere with everybody. This is the way they cope,
mhm,
or they don't want to be touched at all because they see sex as like a chore. It's not. There's no pleasure there. They didn't really want to do it because of sexual trauma. Now, this is
mhm.
not just a person who hasn't experienced sexual trauma. But most people, like I said, if you experience some type of sexual trauma, you go from one end of the spectrum to the other. Either you're highly sexual or you don't want to be
Not
touched and
sexual.
you're just, yeah. So you have anything to add to that, Audrena?
No, that's absolutely right. 100%
Okay.
on that.
So we got another one. Tanisha says, I appreciate you open up and sharing your story. We got to help our people to heal their hearts.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. That's why I like doing this show and I like
Yeah.
finding authors who have stories that are they're sharing their stories because I think we're so used to just holding everything in and scared to talk about it because we think we're going to be judged by, our
Right.
family members or our friends, but you get to a point where you need help. You need help and
Right.
the way to get help is to talk about it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I visited in the midst of everything. I had visited a homeless shelter with women, and they
Mhm.
were sharing their stories and shared mine. The lady said, "But how did you know that when you forgave that?" She started talking about forgiveness, and so
Okay.
in my book, I talk about when she passed away. Um, One of the people that had was there,
Uh-huh.
and I was in the pulpit when my grandmother died, and so I was up there saying a prayer and praying and doing all, and I looked out in the audience and I saw him. So my eyes got big as if
You
I
saw a
was okay.
ghost, like.
Right.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, it was over and done, and they were letting people out. I went out, started crying, and my son, he caught me because, my grandmother was my heart, and I minister her funeral was
Mhm.
was difficult. And so when
Right.
I went out, I turned the corner, and he had his arms wide open. I looked at him in his eyes, and it's almost like God had showed me. It's like, sorry for doing that for you, doing that to you. And I hugged him, and he did a great job up there, and he walked away. And
Wow.
that's when I told him that I had forgave him. I felt it in my soul. I saw it in his eyes. Well, he didn't have an idea of what he was actually doing, the hurt and the pain that he knew that it would cause me, that he wanted to be satisfied at the moment or whatever.
Right. Right. Right.
And
Right.
so, I was like, wow, what forgiveness is all about. This is what it feels like, and she was started crying. And, I was like glad I could help, So that
Wow.
was just really,
Yeah, that's powerful
yeah,
for you. Yeah. Great for sharing that.
yeah. So, and forgiveness is very important because you have to forgive yourself a long time ago.
And
And
I notice people that have trauma, they usually don't forgive themselves. I had one client was like, "Well, why would I need to forgive myself?" Because you've been beating yourself up for years on something that wasn't your fault. You don't even
right.
realize you're doing it. You've gotten into this negative self-talk where you're telling yourself you're not good enough, you can't do this, people don't love you. All of that stuff is beating yourself up, probably due to some past trauma that you've experienced. And so I'm always
Hmm.
asking people, do you forgive yourself? So thank you for sharing that story. Any other
Hmm.
questions out there? So interesting. I'm glad you were on the show because it, I mean, when you tell that story, that helps me with clients as well. Like,
Yeah.
and I'll send them to get your book. Like, here's a story that similar to yours that you can, you know, see how she grew. Let's see what Angela says.
Hmm.
Angela says sometimes women can also have other abusive relationships with men who can be verbal, abusive, or do small things that are traumatic. Yes. You're shaking
That,
your head, Audrena.
oh, the verbal abuse, that in several relationships, and
Mhm.
the small things that just sitting there and allow them to saying whatever,
Mhm.
so yeah, yeah, powerful. That's true. You
Okay.
mental abuse, spiritual
Mhm.
abuse. She said, when did you forgive yourself, Karen? When did I
Mhm.
forgive myself? Actually, I forgave myself probably when I turned about 41. I started to forgive after I started sharing it um, multiple times to multiple.
Mhm.
The more you talk about it, the more freer you become. It becomes free. It starts to drop off you, and it becomes natural. You're still gonna have those moments and dreams that but the more you talk about it, the better you feel.
I tell
Yeah.
my clients that all the time. It's what happens is if you hold it in, you're making it huge. And so when you start talking about it, you kind of shrinking it to where it doesn't
Yes.
have as much power. But But if you yeah, but if you keep just letting it stay inside, it's just growing and festering and getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's what people don't get. Like you hold stuff in like that, you're really hurting yourself, and
Mhm.
eventually it's gonna catch up with you. That's how my anxiety did. Eventually, at, it'll catch up.
It
Your
will
body's
catch
like,
up with you.
mm-hmm,
And
yeah,
for years, and even now, I cannot sleep in a house. I have to have some type of night light because majority of the times when I was molested, and I don't like to hear anything in the house. I like to be able to hear. So it's being in relationships, and
wow,
they like you gotta sleep with light down. People would tease me, me, and like you scared of the dark. No,
yeah.
it's still that trauma. It's still like a dark house.
How did you
I need
when did you
light.
connect that? When did you connect? That's why you did that.
Um, it was a while before I actually could connect it, and I kept saying, "What the lights off?" You know what I'm saying? And different things like that. And it probably once I started saying, because it was happening
Mm-hmm.
in the night. That's what most of the trauma was happening at nighttime.
Wow.
And I blew in the bedroom that I was in when I was younger because it started when I was 5 to 6, and I know when it ended at 12 when I was
Mm-hmm.
12.
Yeah.
But a lot it was just like so pitch dark in there, and I was just like so afraid because I knew what was gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time when you experience those type of trauma, you know, most people, which was me, you just lay there. You're just somewhere else, you
Yep.
know, and
I had a client like
people
that.
just
That's
right,
mhm.
just somewhere else, So
'Cause you just want
it's
it over. It's a chore and I
yeah.
yep. Okay, we got some stuff. Let's see what Angela says. I remember some years ago, a guy I thought I could trust took a pic of my social security card and driver's license and tried to threaten me with my personal property that he stole out of my wallet. I saw some red flags, so when I said I needed to break, he texted me my personal property. I saw what I needed to see. God wanted me to see that. And he was always so charming. Yeah, that was the beginning of a negative relationship for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. Because he was trying to control. Gladly, you saw that in the beginning, those red flags, because
Wow.
it seemed simple, but that's not simple. That's anytime you experience any type of trauma, it's huge.
Yeah. And it's like you said, that control to and the audacity to go into somebody's personal stuff, take their personal information and use that. Um, against them. Thank you for sharing that, Angela. Being
Hmm.
vulnerable and sharing that information. Yeah, I'm sure that was very scary. And
Hmm.
Karen said she has a question. Did you ever black out your trauma?
Oh yeah, most definitely for years. I mean, I didn't talk about it until I was 40. I mean, I started
So you,
feeling
hmm
it probably when I was like 8. I, you know, knew something had happened to me, but I felt like it was, so I blacked it out plenty of times. Yeah.
wow. And was that for like protect? You were protecting yourself. Well, you thought you were protecting yourself, or you were thinking out of sight, out of
Right.
mind.
I was trying to protect them, you so I never
Oh,
wanted to talk,
gotcha.
talk about who they are
hmm
now. You know what I mean?
hmm
So they see, they know. I don't have to point them out. They know who they are. A couple
hmm
of them have passed away, though,
hmm
So
Wow.
yeah. Hmm.
So, any more questions or comments? Very good show. Glad you are on sharing this information. The thing is, you can share this on social media, everybody, so that people who are struggling, I mean, you would be surprised, like the stuff that's going on in people's houses right now as we speak. And we've went through our trauma, but there's people who are actually going through this right now.
Experience.
Yeah. So remember, the more you talk about something, I'm so glad you say that because I tell my clients, the more you talk about something, even grief and some loss and all of that stuff, the more it becomes less big. And
Mm-hmm.
Angela says, congratulations on your book and appreciate your healing testimony and many blessings.
So much.
And Karen says, thank you for sharing. Yeah.
Thank you.
So thank y'all for taking your Friday evening. We are back. The Dr. J show is back. We'll have different topics, different authors coming back. Um, yep. I love to do this because I love hearing stories like this.
Yeah.
I keep saying I'm gonna pull all these authors that I've had on my show and just kind of do a conference and let each one of them, present their story and just have their table and their book so people can learn from each other. Because I think that's what we need in our community is like not stop
Yeah.
hiding all of these traumatic experiences so that we can help other people.
Right.
So
Yeah.
thank you again. It's good talking to you. Thank y'all out there
Thank
in
you.
social media world. Yes, and we will be back on the 16th, not next week. So we skip a week just to give everybody a break.
Okay.
But yep. So have a good night and thank y'all for joining.
Bye bye.